I've just taken my dining table apart and I am about to give it a sander. So here I'm just using my Black & Decker mouse sander, well loved box. Here it is. Got a pad on there. And I'm just using these sanding pads for that, and also I've got a breathing mask to wear and some earmuffs. So I'm just going to give that a sand up, and I'm going to use my chalk paint to give it a nice whitewash kind of finish. If you haven't seen, go and check out my headboard that I did, the DIY job for my master bedroom. Looks absolutely amazing. I love it so much. Such a beautiful colour that came up. So okay, so once I'm all positioned and set up here, I am going to take my sander and get started with having a practice on one of these table legs, just to see how that varnish comes off and the wood grain effect that it gives me. Okay, so once I've finished the table legs here, then I can move on to the table itself. So I'm just going to sand around the edges of the table and then move on to sanding the top of the table. Now I just have to persevere and move slowly. I do a few strokes of it, and I'm noticing that my sandpaper is becoming clumped with the sand, with the varnish sandings that are coming off. They're actually gathering together and being quite tacky and sticky and surfacing on my sandpaper. So I'm having to take these off and simply put a new one on. Not too much. Stripping that back. Stripping that seal back in the colour. Okay, after giving the table another sand over, I have taken here my white finish chalk paint. So I start by going around the bottom and the sides of the table itself, again just so I can see how the colour is going to come up. Now I found that this chalk paint was drying really fast. It would be completely dried within 20 minutes. So with putting it on, I just quickly moved it around and then used nice even strokes just to make sure there was no join marks in the paint. Okay, now once I've given the legs and the table a coat of the chalk paint, I let this dry for a good 2 to 3 hours until I'm able to get back and do another coat. So when I come back, I do a second coat of the chalk paint over the legs again and the table. and then let that dry. So where I want it focused on lots of the traffic area, I'm going to sand there a lot more, so it really makes those darker black lines coming through, which is the whole effect of this white vintage chalk paint. If there's any knots in the wood, you can see with the knots, I just focus on these as well and make these have the same effect. So then I can just give this a wipe down with a damp cloth again, getting rid of the sanding, sawdust. Ready for me to be able to give it a clear coat of the, again, Da Vinci's. That's the same brand as the chalk paint. This is the soft wax. I'm taking a lint-free rag here and I'm just going to give it a nice light coating over my table, and then the dry time for this is about 3 to 4 hours. Now you can see, as I'm showing you on camera here, when I put the marks down, you can see the blobs of the yellowish wax on here, and then I just work it and spread it around. And then more from the bird's eye view shot here, you can see that glossy wax coating all over the table here, and I'm just going to leave that to set in this nice beaming sunshine. Oh my gosh guys, I am so stoked with what I have been able to create here. This table is just looking just so fantastic in that farmhouse style. I am in love. Honestly, on such a cheap budget, I was able to create this. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.